people know when the compliment isn't real. Why are fake compliments so damaging at the workplace?
It erodes trust, and they stop really believing what you're saying. Try to find honesty and truth.
It's mainly about our natural tendency just to avoid conflict.
The best leaders see conflict as an opportunity and use conflict as the platform to drive the change they need.
Stop the fake compliments. Hi, I'm Jill Wiltfong, Chief Marketing Officer for Korn Ferry, and this is Briefings, our deep dive into topics that corporate leaders need to care about. You're frustrated with a team member's performance. So what do? You would think you would tell them, right? But have you noticed that it's harder to do than you think? So much harder that experts say most managers actually just blurt out a compliment. Yes, they praise them for work they didn't like. Pretty strange, except it turns out we are naturally engineered to avoid conflict. But whether the fake kudos is part of a performance review or just a passing comment on a project, it can be pretty damaging to a business's overall productivity, as well as the individual's personal growth. And it's funny, people know when the compliment isn't real. One study found that only 8% of employees who receive insincere recognition feel respected at work. So today, let's dig a little deeper on what's behind all these superficial superlatives and what companies can do so that professionals everywhere can finally stop the fake compliments. Before we start, if you're watching us on YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment to let us know your thoughts on this topic. I am joined now by Liz Bentley, CEO and founder of Liz Bentley Associates. Liz is a nationally recognized career coach and a columnist for Briefings magazine, whose eye-opening article on fake compliments is what sparked today's discussion. Liz, I'm really excited to talk to you about this.
I'm really excited to be here, and I love this topic too, Jill, and we see it come up in coaching all the time.
So, Liz, I think we've all been guilty of giving an insincere pat on the back at some point. And a lot of people might still be wondering, what's the big deal? Why, in your view, are fake compliments so damaging at the workplace?
You're absolutely right. Lots of people will challenge us in coaching saying, what's the problem? Why is this such a big deal? And really, it's because it erodes trust. Look, cultures and workplaces are built on trusting each other. And when you start giving out fake compliments, it becomes very confusing and also inauthentic. And so people start to recognize who are the people who are giving those head fakes and telling you something was great when it actually wasn't. And they stop really believing what you're saying, and they don't take you seriously.
Interesting. So let's go into a key aspect of why these fake compliments happen in the first place. I think you've written that it's mainly about our natural tendency just to avoid conflict. Is that the reason why we do this?
This is absolutely true. The second time we see people give fake compliments is when they go to something, they experience something that they dislike so much, they're afraid the person is going to read their mind. So let's say I'm hosting a work lunch and I invite you to it and I can't stand it. I'm bored, or my friend is bored. They're not enjoying it. It's a terrible lunch. And they are so afraid that I'm going to realize how much they hated it that they leave giving me all kinds of compliments on how great it was. And the last one is when I just want people to like me. So I say to my colleague, oh, you're so good at giving direct feedback and really telling the truth. When in fact, I really feel like they're offensive and abrasive.
Oh my God, I love your skirt. Where did you get it?
It was my mom's in the 80s.
Vintage. So adorable.
Thanks.
That is the ugliest skirt I've ever seen.
That is a scene from the movie Mean Girls, where a mean girl gives a fake compliment and then immediately backtracks on it in private. Liz, you've said that this kind of behavior is actually common in the workplace. Of course, many workers may not be outright mean, but maybe simply scared of a negative reaction to their honest feedback. So can you give us some language that we can all use to kind of work through a conversation so that we can maybe position it a little more positively?
I think what we want to do is try to find honesty and truth. So if you were, again, at a presentation where you felt the majority of the room really felt you went into too much detail, you can give a specific answer to, well, these things, sometimes it was too much detail and you start to lose your audience when you do that. So you can give some context to what the feedback actually is and how they can improve from it or what they can do with the feedback. If you just say, well, look, overall it was boring, that doesn't say anything.
What about that good old compliment sandwich, right? Because we've heard about this for a while, where you place the critical feedback between two compliments. It's really still a cornerstone framework for lots of people, but you say that needs to go away. Why
Completely.
Is that?
I'm really down on the compliment sandwich in a negative way. The point of the compliment sandwich was to start with something good, give them the negative, and then end on a high. And that's just confusing. And most people never hear the real negative feedback. So it doesn't work.
I want to end by touching on a related workplace issue you've identified, which is fake apologies.
Yes.
You've said that they're even more harmful than fake compliments. What makes them so much worse?
Well, a fake sorry, I call it, is usually someone who wants a conflict to go away. So they'll say, I know, I'm sorry, it was my fault, but they don't actually mean it. So the apology is completely inauthentic. The conflict doesn't get fully resolved. No one gets accountable to their piece of the problem, and the problems keep happening. What we want to remember about conflict is we're trying to get to a good outcome. We're trying to get to a better resolution so we don't stay in the same conflict year after year after year.
Well, you are really gifted at breaking down why these communication issues matter so much today. And that is not a fake compliment. That is sincere. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jill. It's really great.
We've talked about how fake compliments are often an attempt to avoid workplace conflict. When we return, we'll be diving into the heart of what might be causing these workplace conflicts in the first place and what to do about it. Stay tuned.
Hi, and welcome to This Week in Leadership. I'm Rupak Bhattacharya, and here's a quick look at what else is happening in business.
Consumer use of buy now, pay later continues to grow.
Nearly half of consumers plan to use buy now, pay later plans on at least one holiday purchase, which is an increase of 13% year over year. And while increased consumer spending might be good for retailers at present, there are concerns around what could happen if the economy retracts and people who lose their jobs are no longer able to fulfill their payment obligations.
The restaurant industry is facing unprecedented challenges.
Tens of millions of people around the world are changing their food habits, and it's causing a bit of indigestion for restaurants, where foot traffic has been down across the board. Experts say that savvy restaurateurs are countering this by doubling down on the dining experience, creating loyalty programs, special menus, and themed events to lure patrons.
The top concern isn't getting a new job, it's keeping the one they already have.
81% of workers in a recent survey say they're afraid they might lose their jobs in 2026, especially given persistent inflation and largely flat salary growth. Experts say CEOs and other leaders can help reduce workers' fears by acknowledging those anxieties and providing regular feedback to allay the concerns of employees whose performance is good. For more insights from This Week in Leadership, head to kornferry.com/insights.
Could you not smile like that? Now you're asking me to mask my emotions because of how it makes you feel? That I will not do.
We've been talking about fake compliments and apologies, which are often masking hidden tensions under the surface at work. And here to shed more light on those tensions is David Ferris, a senior client partner in Korn Ferry's professional services practice. He spends a lot of time helping leaders work through challenging workplace dynamics. David, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
We just showed a movie clip that was from the movie The Other Guys, where Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell play coworkers who initially just can't get along. And David, we played that clip because of a This Week in Leadership article that you contributed to about how one of the top required workplace skills nowadays is actually conflict management. Why do you think that skill is so high up on the list of must-haves right now as a leader?
So there's so much going on in the world right now, so much uncertainty, ambiguity, volatility, right? Economic uncertainty, geopolitical strife, so much going on. And we're transforming and changing as organizations so fast. I think the best leaders see conflict as an opportunity to basically rub their hands together and use conflict as the platform to drive the change they need across their leadership team and organization.
You'd mentioned AI, which is, of course, affecting everything today. And while a Korn Ferry survey shows that most leaders think AI will replace less than 20% of their firm's roles within the next 2 to 3 years, many big firms have recently conducted cutbacks, often disproportionately affecting this manager level role. And you said that this can be a big source of tension at work because there may be fewer managers to go around putting out those fires that you're talking about. What can firms do to buoy their workforce through this dip in managerial support?
Back when the millennials about 10 years ago became the largest portion of the workforce, the largest generation, the early research said that they wanted roughly 7 jobs by the time they were 40. Then we went back and looked at the research and realized it's actually not 7 jobs. It's 7 experiences. So one way to try to retain them to stay with the organization is to give them those collections of experiences to propel their career forward, help them see that path, market that opportunity to them as the employer of choice for those things.
Sticking with the AI theme for just a minute, a Korn Ferry study found that 69%, almost 70% of CEOs and board directors say that AI and tech proficiency are the most important skills for their companies to address in the next few years. And surprisingly to me, only 38% of top leaders said emotional intelligence is most important. It almost seems paradoxical that firms prioritize conflict management, but seem to be deprioritizing emotional intelligence. Do you think that ratio, that kind of 69 to 38%, is out of balance and perhaps that it might swing back the other way in the long term?
I might say it's ironic for a different reason. If we look at what AI is doing to organizations and its promise to take over the technical or hard skills within our organization, where does that leave for the humans? It leaves those soft skills, right? Leadership, empathy, strategic thinking, those kinds of things. So where does emotional intelligence fit in? It's a soft skill, right? For the future. So I have to say that at the moment, I believe that AI is going to continue to erode the need for some of these technical skills because the AI will augment it. But we're going to see the pendulum shift the other way where the humans are going to need to augment the AI by way of soft skills.
Thank you very much for being here. It is always great to get your perspective. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
The executive producer of Briefings is Jonathan Dahl. Today's episode was produced by Rupak Bhattacharya and Zachary Dorr, and it was edited by Jaron Henry McRae. It contains reporting by Russell Perlman, Ariane Cohen, and Peter Loria. Our video segment contains original artwork by Fraser Milton, Haley Kennel, Jonathan Pink, and Sasha Kotschik. And our web operations are managed by Ed McLaurin. Don't forget to read our magazine, available at newsstands and at kornferry.com/briefings. That's it for Korn Ferry Briefings. I'm Jill Wiltfong. See you next time.
Jill, I'm in my wife's office because mine wasn't good enough for this.